Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine, feeling much better each day, so thanks for all your prayers and good wishes. They continue to help. Today's the first day I could drive locally in the last 3 weeks, so I'm happy to do that and drove myself to the studio, got the pizza and hoagie from Olive Oil's Pizzeria, and Smokin' Jim is not going to be here. He's having trouble walking. He's in the hospital. He showed me he was in the hospital bed, so prayers would be appreciated for Smokin' Jim. I asked what's wrong. He didn't tell me, so that's our Smokin' Jim. Put him in your thoughts and prayers, and we hope he gets out soon. Chip Hayner's with me. We got a lot of sports to talk about, and he may touch on the Pirates a little bit, but we'll find out. I have some promos here. First up, I want to do Olive Oil's Pizzeria. If we can get that, Steve. There it is. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 412-831-1900, Hillcrest Shopping Center. They sponsor our show with a extra large pizza and a steak hoagie. They're delicious. Give them a call, 412-831-1900. Tell them you heard about us on Pittsburgh Sportsline. They have all kind of specials, great Italian food, and everything is made out of fresh ingredients. So check it out. Next up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. Poor Joey didn't make it to his 10th birthday. There's a picture of him before DIPG, the brain cancer that took his life. There's Joey with DIPG. You can go to the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, donate money as little as $1, help them out. They have all kind of different events. They had a great Joey Fabus run, 5K, 1 mile run. And they had over 500 people sign up, so they made some money to donate to find DIPG. Next up, the Bethel Park Historical Society's Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. Can't miss it. There's a big trolley right out front, red trolley. Been there for years. They've done a lot of great work there. They have rooms. They have an open house. Check it out, October 13th from 10 o'clock till 1 p.m., 10 in the morning till 1. Open house. Reginald's Coffee is there. I was there for some green tea the other day. Matt and Julie have a heck of a place there. They have great coffee. They have a roaster there, but I don't touch that coffee. I prefer the green tea. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have some fun at my expense, and I don't mind that. Here I am. He put my face on Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al sent you. Al Levine of Pittsburgh Sportsline, producer and host. Call 412-831-3304. Tell Dave Cable you heard about us on Pittsburgh Sportsline. You want to be like Steve on camera. You want to be like Zach, who's going back to Altoona in a week. And you want to be like Jack, that's a freshman at Bethel Park High School. They're working on our sound, audio, and making sure we look great. And we're on HD, so enjoy the great shot. Next up, Bethel Park Community Foundation. They have money for you from $100 to $5,000. Get an application at www.bpcf.org. Get your app. I'm a trustee on the board. We've given out over $100,000 this year. We have money for you. Next up, the Bethel Park Community Foundation has their great event, November 3rd at Crown Plaza. There it is. $50 tickets. They have vendors, all kind of food, local food establishments. I enjoy it so much because people know I like to eat, and there's plenty of things to eat. There's food, there's drinks, there's desserts. Bethel Bakery's there. They have great stuff. I like their Buckeyes. They're fantastic. They have beer, wine, raffle. Let's see. They got raffles, door prizes, and much more. And it starts from 5 o'clock to 8 p.m. and that's Crown Plaza, Fort Couch Road. Can't miss it. That's the Bethel Park Community Foundation, Bethel Bounty. Be there. Oh, and you can get tickets too. You can go to www.bpcf.org, or you can go to Andy Amrine's EV Hardware. They have tickets there, so check it out. You won't be disappointed. Next, we got a show to do, and it sponsors What's on Your Mind. Skeets Lewandowski of Skeets Service Station. It's right in Finleyville, past Trax Farm, the Dairy Queen. You can see it's a red, white, and blue station. They work on anything and everything that runs on gas. They even have a Pittsburgh drivetrain. They can make trains for any vehicle that you have. They have a forge. They make tools. They make hooks on the wall. You name it, they make it. They make knives. Call them at 724-348-4715. Tell them the Talking Machine sent you to fix their car, lawnmower, boat, truck, you name it. Weed whacker even if it's gas. Hedge trimmers if they're gas. They do it all. All right, we're going to start our show after What's on Your Mind with Chip Hayner. What's on your mind, Chip Hayner?
Well, thank you, everybody, and good evening. And first thing I would like to do is I would like to pay tribute to a magical night in Pittsburgh sports history that happened 6 years ago today.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Pirates ended 20 years of losing by winning their first playoff game in over 2 decades by beating the Cincinnati Reds 4-2 in the wild card play-in game, and I happened to be witness at that game, and it was one of the most incredible sporting events that I have ever witnessed in my life. I've been to AFC Championship games. I've been to Penguin playoff games, you name it. The energy that surrounded PNC Park that evening was something like I have never seen before or since. And that being said, I would like to comment upon the events of this past weekend and the conclusion of a truly disastrous season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, you know, it was obvious because of the way things fell this year that changes were going to be made. You know, generally, when a team underperforms to the degree that it underperformed this year, you don't fire the team. I understand change in the manager was inevitable. However, the way things were handled once again showed beyond any reasonable doubt why I feel that Neil Huntington is no longer fit to be responsible for decisions about the future of this franchise. Saturday night at PNC Park, a disappointing crowd to say the least, but a tribute to Steve Blass. Here's a gentleman who devoted 60 years of his adult life to the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Signed in the summer of 1960 as an 18-year-old high school boy, made it to the major leagues in 1964. And from 1968 to 1972 was probably one of the top 5 pitchers in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Steve Blass was also responsible for pitching 2 complete games in the 1971 World Series. Those Pirates were down 2-0 to the mighty Baltimore Orioles in 1971. And in Game 3, Steve Blass pitched a complete game, and the Pirates won their first game of the season. Now, the interesting thing about that series was the Baltimore Orioles had 4 20-game winners in their 4-man rotation.
Yeah.
And the Pirates were able to overcome this. And in Game 7, Steve Blass pitched a masterpiece, a 2-1 complete game victory with the final out going from Jackie Hernandez to Bob Robertson. Bob Robertson threw his arms up in the air, and Steve Blass jumped into them. And it was one of the most
classic.
It's an image that will stay in my mind. And the Pirates were paying tribute to Steve Blass, who not only had an incredible baseball career, he saw the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. He became a broadcaster for this Pirates for 36 years, the longest broadcasting in Pirates history, 1 year longer than Lanny Fratteri.
Wow.
And, you know, so the Pirates had a tribute to him Saturday night that was very touching. Mother Nature held off the downpour until he filled it. It was kind of like the Field of Dreams because he threw the first pitch to his grandson as the raindrops were falling and the lightning was crashing in the background. And it was really, truly something amazing. And then the skies opened up and we had a game delay. So, that Friday night was Steve's last televised broadcast. Sunday was to be his last radio broadcast as a Pirate broadcaster. Now, that being said, knowing that a change in a manager was inevitable, Neil Huntington decided to ruin Steve Blass's final day as a broadcaster for the Pittsburgh Pirates by terminating Clint Hurdle before the game and take the shine away from what should have been Steve Blass's crowning moment as a member of an organization for 60 years. He had been in that organization longer than Neil Huntington had been alive. And to rob him of that minute to fire Clint Hurdle before the game, I don't understand why he did it. It made no sense to me at all. It showed extreme lack of class and a huge lack of respect for Pirate fans.
Right.
What would have been the difference if you waited 24 hours and let him go on Monday? And then we heard this variety of excuses that Neil Huntington's getting very, very good at. And here's my question. How is it that Clint Hurdle deserved to be fired and Neil Huntington did not? I think if you were going to make a change, you needed to change the both of them, not one, because what happened this year was not Clint Hurdle's fault completely. And what we've done is we've made a scapegoat of somebody that did more for baseball in the last 9 years in this city than anybody has in almost 3 decades. And I think it's a complete lack of respect. And I think Neil Huntington is an incompetent boob. Okay, and Bob Nutting, where are you? Yeah. He sends out a statement. I have complete confidence in Neil Huntington. Well, I can tell you something. I am a longtime Pirates season ticket holder, and I have already renewed my tickets for next year, and I will continue to support the Pirates because I've been supporting them for over 55 years. And I'm not going to allow these two take away something that has been a part of my life and a fabric of my being from the time I was a child. I will still continue to support the team. I have absolutely no confidence that Neil Huntington will hire an adequate manager or, more importantly, provide him with the talent he needs to win. So, Mr. Nutting, if you care, and it's obvious by your actions that you do not, you need to make Neil Huntington go away. I mean, clean the slate, start all over again. There's better candidates out there, and just there are so many different reasons why he should not be allowed to continue in charge of this franchise. And I think I'm going to cut this short here because I'm starting to get a little worked up. I don't want to say something that's going to cause me to be censored. But if you're asking what's on my mind, that's what's on my mind. I still love and support the Pirates. I do not support Neil Huntington. And Bob Nutting, you need to get your head out of your butt because if you're trying to reconnect with Pirate fans, you went about it the wrong way.
Thank you, Chip Hayner. I happen to agree with you on most of your points and even the ones you didn't make that you're thinking. And it's quite obvious. What's on my mind, I'll cut right to the chase. When I got up to watch the last Pirate game of the season, because I'm a fan, always been a fan. That's my first love, baseball. Played it, enjoyed it, loved it. But it's been a disappointing year. When they started out the second half, winning only 4 games out of about 36, I knew we were in trouble and we were done. And I look at Neil Huntington and the players that he provided, Clint Hurdle, and then I hear Clint Hurdle was fired before the start of the game, which should have been a shining light on Steve Blass. That blew me away because I do have common sense and love the game. And Steve Blass is one of the greatest storytellers, broadcasters you're ever going to meet. He's just a dynamic person, had an interesting life where he was one of the greatest pitchers, and then he lost all pitching ability. He couldn't throw the ball over that little 12-inch disc there. And he still kept his head up, was a class act, continued loving baseball and giving great analytical statistics and facts and stories. I love his stories that he says. I like how he interacts with the people during the seventh inning stretch, throwing stuff to him, and just, enjoying baseball. And his love of baseball came out every day that he worked, which for 36 years, that's quite the honor to have that steadiness and professionalism that he had. And I wish him the best in life, and whatever he does, he'll be great at it. And back to the Pirates, I agree with Chip. Neil Huntington should be gone because he's the one following orders with Bottom Line Bob, and we're getting players that shouldn't even be here. You could up the payroll a little bit, maybe tweak it for a couple of these players, and we need some starting pitching. I mean, it was a nightmare with what happened with injuries, and we did have some little sparks of good play. Reynolds, Newman, Josh Bell had some great things happening, but it wasn't enough to sustain a winning record, and it was a nightmare of a season. And I knew something would happen. Even though they signed Clint Hurdle for 2 more years and Neil Huntington, they both should have gone. I agree with a clean sweep, start anew. There's plenty of great baseball people out there. Somebody would be willing to take a chance here, and I think they should do that. Instead, we may get somebody in-house that will practice the same things that they believe, which aren't conducive to good baseball. So I'm hopeful for the Pirates. Go Pirates. I'm going to stay optimistic. And we'll be back with some trivia from Chip Hayner.
Welcome back, everybody. And, just to let you folks know, as fans of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Alan and myself, I think, us being a bit more critical of them leads more credence to it because we are actually people that love the game, that love the team, that understand everything about it.
Yeah.
We're not people that constantly are ridiculing them, mocking them. My opinions come from my heart, but like I said, long-time season ticket holder. I've already renewed my tickets for next year, and I'm not going to stop supporting the team. So we wrapped up the 2019 Major League Baseball season.
Yeah.
And, once again, Major League Baseball for the 12th year in a row set a record. In 2018, Major League batters struck out 40,883 times. In 2019, Major League batters struck out a record 41,018 times. Okay? The numbers have gone up every single year for the last 12 years.
That's amazing.
And, there was talk this year, I lived through the steroid era. I'm not a fan of the records that were set in the steroid era. I think they are all tainted. And so now, instead of juicing the players, this year they decided to juice the balls because the balls don't have to be drug tested. Interesting concept. So I'm going to go over a long list of home run records that were set in 2019. And these were not because of performance-enhancing drugs. The Major League single-season record, a slew of team single-season records, the all-time rookie record, and many more. If there was a home run record in the books, there's a good chance it was rewritten now that the homer-happy 2019 regular season is complete. How amazing was the great power surge we all witnessed this season? Check out this list of home run-related records that fell in 2019, and you judge for yourself. Okay?
All right, let's hear it.
Total home runs for Major League Baseball for the 2019 Major League season, 6,776.
Wow.
It doesn't get bigger than this. The 6,776 home runs this year are a whopping 671 more than were hit in any previous season. But even that doesn't do the number justice. To fully understand just how amazing that number is, you have to understand that the previous record of 6,105 set in 2017 was more than 500 more than the previous record.
Wow.
So 2019's record is more than 1,000 more than the third most homers in a single season, when 5,693 balls left the yard in 2000. It's also almost 1,200 more than were hit in 2018, 5,585. Most home runs by a team, 307 by the Minnesota Twins this year. The 2018 New York Yankees hit 267. At that point, the single-season home run mark. The 2019 Twins hit their 267th home run on August 31st.
Wow.
And continued crushing long balls to the tune of 307 for the season. The 2019 Yankees joined the Twins in the 300 home run club with 306.
Wow.
And 4 teams eclipsed the previous Major League Baseball record, with the Astros belting 288 and the Dodgers blasting 279. That is without the benefit of a DH. Pretty incredible. And that's what the Dodgers, the Astros, the Yankees, and the Twins all had the DH. 14 teams set franchise records. But those teams weren't the only ones putting up record-setting home run totals. And all 14 teams set franchise home run marks, meaning just under half the league will be updating its record book now that the 2019 season is complete. There were 24 teams with 200-plus home runs.
Wow.
While the Yankees and Twins put the all-time record into a different stratosphere with their 300-plus home run seasons, 24 teams hit at least 200 homers. Before 2019, the most teams to reach 200 in a season was 17 in 2017. Entering this season, there were only 6 teams that hit 250 home runs in a single season in MLB history, and there have never been multiple teams with 250 homers in a single season. This year, 7 teams hit that mark.
That's unbelievable.
305 home runs were given up by the Baltimore Orioles. Hitting 300-plus home runs is impressive, but what about giving up 300 as a pitching staff?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what the Baltimore Orioles did this year, as they obliterated the record for most gopher balls given up in a season. Though Baltimore's pitchers were in a league of their own when it came up to serving up long balls, the Rockies, Angels, Mariners all gave up more than the previous record of 258 held by the 2016 Cincinnati Reds.
No way.
53 home runs from one rookie slugger. If you're looking for one face of the year of the home run, it would be hard to argue with New York Mets slugger Pete Alonso, whose 53 homers were the most ever for a rookie. In between winning the All-Star Home Run Derby in July and setting the rookie mark on the season's final weekend, Alonso smashed the Mets team record when he hit his 42nd of the home run of the year on August the 27th. And for anybody that's talking about the curse of the Home Run Derby,
It didn't work.
I guess not.
Yeah.
273 players with double-digit home runs.
Wow.
A record 256 players hit double-digit home runs this year, and 129 reached the 20 home run mark. 13 home runs in one game. If you want to tell the story of the year of the home run, look no further than the June 10th contest between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies.
Really?
Which featured a Major League record 13 home runs.
Oh, man.
1,228 in one calendar month.
Wow.
Before 2019, there had only been 7 calendar months with 1,000 or more home runs hit. Now there are 13 such months after each full month of 2019 season saw 1,000 long balls hit.
Unbelievable.
August stands alone at the top of the list as the 1,228 homers hit in that month are 92 more than were hit in May, which had the second most of the season.
That is amazing.
These numbers are staggering.
The year of the strikeout and the year of
And
the
I
home
hadn't
run.
planned to go into depth on this, but since
It's worth
Jim's
it.
not me, Jim's
Yeah,
not me.
we got extra time. Yeah.
Sure. 74 home runs in 1 month by one team.
Wow.
The Yankees were the biggest contributors to that record-setting August, as their 74 home runs smashed the previous record for homers in a month of 58, set by the 1999 Seattle Mariners, which, steroids were involved.
Yeah.
A number that the Twins also topped in August, and the Twins had 59 home runs. 31 straight games with a home run. August wasn't the only month in which the Yankees made history, this home run history, as the Bombers set a mark for consecutive games with a home run by going deep in 31 straight games from May 26th to July 2nd.
Wow.
114 5-homer games. This is just
That's incredible.
When I read this, I was just like, oh my God, this is
keep going.
Entering the season, the most games in a single season in which 5 or more home runs were hit was 60 in 2016. The 2019 season laid waste to that record by July and nearly doubled the record with a grand total of 114 such home run games.
Wow.
And last but not least, 1,937 team multi-homer games. The 1,937 team multi-homer games this year is easily the most in history, obliterating the previous record of 1,703 set in 2017. But this is another mark that becomes even more amazing when you look one spot deeper in the record books. Before 2017, there had never been more than 1,560 such games in a season, meaning this year's total is nearly 400 more than third place on the list.
Wow.
And Alan said a mouthful right there. When I read these statistics, I felt that this was something that would be worth sharing. I found it interesting and amazing, but 2019, what a year.
Yeah, a year to remember. More ways than one.
More ways than one.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate all
After his segment, I do want to do a brief playoff rundown because, baseball playoffs start tonight.
We can do that. I'll have a little short on location. Look behind us. John Opraskak's painting of Three Rivers Stadium. I'm honored to have it on the show each week. Look at how beautiful it is. Looks great between me and Chip today.
I'm telling you, you don't have my big head in the middle of it.
No,
That's beautiful.
not this week. We're framing it. Good job in the control room there, guys. Thank you. On location. We got an on-location show October 14th at Olive Oil's Pizzeria, 930 Brookline Boulevard, 7:30 to 8:30. We got South Park Boxing Club coming in and a couple other guests coming on that show. Hopefully Smokin' Jim will be back for that. I'm not sure if he will or not, but prayers to Smokin' Jim. And we're looking for a couple other locations. I might be doing a show with Judge Arnone come November. We'll have details as that comes out. It'll be a local Bethel Park location. When I get more details, we'll put that out there for you. So that'll be in November. And we're always looking for shows, and there's boxing matches that come up, and we'll let you know when we do it. But it's looking light right now with just one show, October 14th, and that's 7:30 to 8:30, Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Come on out, enjoy the show and our guests. It will be great to have you. We're going to go to Chip and a little playoff rundown.
We're in the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, and here's Yager with the puck. Yager, nice move around right center to the backhand. Lets it go, he scores!
Well, tonight starts the baseball postseason.
Yes.
And what some people may consider an inconsequential wild card play-in game. Well, 6 years ago, it wasn't so inconsequential.
Cueto.
But tonight, the Milwaukee Brewers go to Washington, D.C. to play the Washington Nationals in the wild card play-in game. And here's the interesting thing. Second week of September, with Milwaukee fighting for its playoff life, their MVP caliber candidate, Christian Yelich, fouled a ball off of his kneecap.
I saw that.
Shattered his kneecap, and he's been unable to play the rest of the season. And the team did not give up hope, and they scratched and they fought, and they almost won the division. They went into the last game of the season, and if Milwaukee would have won on Sunday and St. Louis would have lost, it would have led to a one-game playoff to determine who would play tonight in the wild card game. So St. Louis won on Sunday, Milwaukee lost, so it was a moot point. But our playoff matchups as they stand right now, interesting will be to watch is the home run bashing Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees will be going head-to-head in the first round of the playoffs. And my favorite to win it all this year, the Houston Astros, with the best starting rotation in baseball, bar none, will be facing off against the winner of the Tampa Bays and the Oakland A's tomorrow night. Two small market teams that both have won 90 games each the last 2 seasons. Apparently, they're not making the mistakes that a certain somebody on the North Shore has been doing quite consistently lately, and we'll get an opportunity to do again, much to my chagrin.
Yes.
And then you've got the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals facing off in the next matchup in the National League, with the winner of tonight's game going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers. So lots of good baseball to be played tonight. The Milwaukee Brewers, I'd say, have as good of a chance as they can have. Brian Woodruff is their starting pitcher, and the Milwaukee Brewers are 18-4 when he starts a game.
Wow.
And they are going up against none other than Max Scherzer, who is probably one of the best right-handers in Major League Baseball. It should be an interesting pitcher's duel. Tune in at 8:08. I believe it's on Fox. But the wild card playing game tonight, tomorrow night, another one, and then Friday, the divisional races start. So
it'll be interesting.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I love the game of baseball. I'm heartbroken that my Pirates aren't going to be there this year, but I will still take note. And
how long do you think Scherzer will last?
I can see each of these pitchers pitching deep into the game, at least well into the 6th inning.
Yeah.
But I mean, now in Major League Baseball, because of the changing climate, they consider 5 innings a quality start. I never have.
They could bring Strasburg in right after
Well,
Scherzer. So
but
what a combo that is.
Here's the thing you have to understand. They're putting their ace up first, okay? Now, that means that he's not going to be eligible to pitch to the 2nd or 3rd game of a 5-game series. They may already be down by 2 games, you know. But if they don't win tonight, there is no tomorrow. So it's a little bit of a dichotomy there. Personally, myself, I'd like to see a 3-game series. And then, if the divisional 5-game series, and then for the NLCS and for the World Series, go to 7-game series. But as it stands right now, we're playing games into November.
Yeah,
and,
it's a little too late.
It is. November, that's college football season. That's pro football season. So,
hockey season.
Well, and for those of you that are fans, the NBA.
Yeah, definitely. All the sports are going. Well, thanks for that, Chip. Now we're going to go talk a little. Look at that painting there by Jono. Looks powerful. We're going to talk a little Steelers. We're going to just go right into that. So control room, you don't have to commercial us or anything. Just keep the folks looking at us and we'll carry on. I watched one of the most boring games that I ever saw, and the Steelers won. So I was very happy with it. There was great performances on the defense and some great work on the offense too. And you got to give credit to a quarterback. It's 24 of 28. I don't care if he was averaging 3.5 yards a throw.
Hey, I'll tell you where the first place I believe the credit is well earned is with the coaching staff of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Because the Pittsburgh Steelers looked poor in the first 3 games of the season, even though I saw improvements with them against San Francisco and even again in the Seattle game.
Yeah, they should.
They had opportunities to win those games because they took the lead late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And the defense wasn't able to stand up.
They do what they normally do.
Well, the defense stood up last night.
Yeah.
And and it was a well coached game. They came out with the Wildcat. They did what they needed to do. And here's what I believe we are in the process of witnessing. We're going to watch over the next number of weeks the maturing process of Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
And I think, keeping him making throws that he's comfortable with, getting him into a rhythm, getting him used to the speed of the rush
Sure.
and the speed of the game in the National Football League, because
Right.
the speed of the game right now in the regular season is nothing like you're seeing in the preseason. And in the preseason, you're going against third stringers, fourth stringers. Now you're going to,
It's top.
now the
Top
top dogs
players.
are out there. And I think if they can just continue to gradually improve upon what he's doing, let him have little successes like 24 of 28. Yeah, he only completed one long pass, 43 yards, but that was for a touchdown. But what made that touchdown possible was all those short passes, because that tightened up the coverage and opened up the field for him.
And with the receivers, they aren't getting open as much, so the Steeler coaching staff created these openings.
Interesting statistic from last night between Jalen Samuels and
Rudolph.
the running
James
back,
Conner.
James Conner. They each caught 8 passes.
Yeah.
Okay. They were 16 catches and 16 targets.
Yeah.
They didn't drop a ball. That's a pretty amazing statistic.
Sure.
That helps to build confidence in your running backs. And those short passes, to me, that's just an extended handoff.
Yeah, it's a running game.
So what it does is that, if they're stacking the box saying, we're going to make him beat us with our arm, the way to make running room, spread the field out,
Right.
get them out in space where they've got some room, and it worked very, very well last night.
No, it was a very good strategic plan.
Yes,
I was surprised they came up with it. So,
But does that mean that same plan is going to work against the
No.
Baltimore Ravens this week?
Not at all.
No, they're going to have to work on something different, because now they've got it on tape.
sure, the
And
defense
so now
has figured that
defensive
out.
coordinators can plan for it. So, I think it's going to be part of the growth cycle. And I think Mason Rudolph actually is going to be just a fine professional quarterback.
Right.
And, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben.
Well,
and Ben wants to come back next year.
Yeah.
But this is 2019. And there's
He's
still
not going to be here.
12 more games.
Right. And Rudolph has a history from Oklahoma of throwing the long ball.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State. He threw the long ball there. I saw a couple of his games because I thought I remembered that guy throwing a lot of long passes to James Washington. And, they have a connection there. But our receivers got to try to get open a little bit more. They're not performing like they should. So it makes it a little difficult for the quarterback. The short passes overcame that ability. So to me, it was a good plan. It worked out well. We were able to almost control the ball for half the time. We were a few seconds short of getting back to where we're controlling the ball. And that means so much in a game, as Chip knows and I know watching the sport. If you have more time of possession, you got a better chance to win the game. And that's what they're trying to do.
And the interesting thing about yesterday's game is that Cincinnati actually won the time of possession in that game. But Cincinnati, they look terrible.
Yeah.
And, but here's the thing about Cincinnati. One of the things that I'm really not a very big fan of is what the Miami Dolphins are doing this year. And it looks like they're deliberately trying to lose to get the first pick in the draft because they want to get that kid from Alabama as their quarterback next year. And, at least Cincinnati has been trying. And, Andy Dalton was the second-rated passer in the NFL after 3 weeks.
Yeah.
After 3 weeks. And
the Red Rifle. Yeah.
Yes. And the Steelers put it on him last night. 8 sacks, couple of turnovers.
They were harassing him all the time.
And they were, and I think what I heard Mike Tomlin say during the course of the week was that there was a lot of people that were pretty pissed off about the way they had played.
Yeah.
Okay. And, so now, these are proud professionals. And the Steelers were definitely a lot better than an 0-3 team. But, you are what your record says you are.
You have to see it, yeah.
Yeah, you are what your record says you are. And, I do believe that the Steelers do have a chance to win the division because, Baltimore, which looked like world beaters the first week, not so much. They got it put on them pretty good by the Cleveland Browns last week.
They did.
So
I was
we've got
surprised by-
Baltimore at home
yeah.
on Sunday at 1. And, we can
We'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good game.
I like it being a home game
Well, I
because we
think
can build
more
on
so.
the momentum.
Build on him. Lamar Jackson is the kind of quarterback that can create problems, but also Lamar Jackson, by being so mobile, is apt to get hurt. And if you look at the number of starting quarterbacks in the league that are injured
Yeah.
right now, I mean, superstars, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger,
Right.
the list goes on and on.
Sure.
And Mitch Trubisky went down with the
dislocated shoulder.
yeah, with the
the
Chicago Bears. So, a quarterback that takes more hits is more likely to be hurt. And who do they have behind
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson?
I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah.
And I don't even think the Baltimore Ravens know.
They don't know.
But, so something, something could happen there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yes, it absolutely will be interesting to see what happens there. And, I think the Steelers have made a great first step. But before we start booking tickets to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
okay, let's not forget something about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 1-3, okay?
Yeah.
Remember that you are 1-3. And you know what? Before we start clowning and, posing for pictures in the end zone and all this
Right.
other foolishness, you need to start stacking wins. I remember this is something Chris Hoke was talking about on the radio.
Yeah.
He goes, they're going to need to get that first win. Then this is something that Bill Cowher used to preach. Then we need to start stacking wins.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they need to do. Now, after this week, we've got a real tall task ahead of us. We got to go to Los Angeles
Yeah.
and play the Rams.
Although they looked terrible the other
And
day.
that's where I was going
I
because
understand.
Jameis Winston, who looked like a dog with fleas
Wow.
the first 3 weeks of the season, hung 54
What
points
did Arians do?
on the Los Angeles Rams last week. Who saw
He
that
looked
coming?
unbelievable.
And people that have survivor polls,
Yeah.
how many people got knocked out for the season on that game?
Sure.
A lot.
Tons of them.
A lot. So,
Yeah.
so the Steelers have their work cut out for him.
Goff looked terrible.
But he still put up 40 points.
I know, but he looked bad doing it.
Yeah, he looked bad. The person that looked bad was Todd Gurley.
5 carries.
5 carries, and talks about getting paid Todd Gurley money. There's a reason why they don't pay running backs that kind of money, because running backs are probably
Less than 3 years is the average that they last.
the most injured position. I mean, I would say quarterbacks are going down like flies, but running backs
They're close second.
They're a close second, if not first. So
And Gurley supposedly has arthritis.
well, he's got an arthritic knee, and
Yeah,
they found
that's
this
not
out
good.
after they signed him to the big contract with the guaranteed
Right.
money. So, I think
That's not a
not
good
too many
sign.
teams are going to make that mistake, and that's probably the reason why Le'Veon Bell didn't get the money that he thought
Right.
he was going to get.
Sure. And his singing's terrible, so
That
rapping is the worst.
I've never listened to it.
I tried, and it was about 10 seconds in
And,
there.
and if I never hear any of it, it'll be too soon. Just not he needs to stick to playing football. So.
And he's actually doing pretty well, they're saying, it with the Jets.
Well, and they're 0-3.
Yeah.
And their starting quarterback has been out with mono, and he's only just yesterday
Yeah.
was able to start doing cardiovascular work. But I had mono about 25 years or so ago, and I can tell you this. It just saps the energy out of
Yeah.
you, and you may be able to.
I had friends that had it, and they were
and
very weakened.
It takes a long
Your whole
time to get
system.
your stamina back.
Yeah.
It does. So, and then more important thing is that your spleen becomes enlarged, and you get a hit here and you
You gotta
rupture your
watch that.
spleen. We're talking emergency surgery, and
It'll explode.
yes.
Yeah, you don't-
Exactly.
you don't
you
need
have to
that.
be extremely careful.
So I'm sure they're watching that
No,
for sure.
all right, they had better. So, Steelers got the work cut out for them. It's another divisional game. Steelers and Ravens, it don't matter. Those teams could be 10-0 each, or they could be 0-10 each. When the Steelers and the Ravens get together, they start
it's a
laying the
backyard
leather.
brawl.
Yeah, they start laying the leather. You can throw away all the record books. I think it'll probably be a very low-scoring game. And here's one of the positives from even the 3 losses that we've had that I think could be a key determining factor in the game.
Uh-oh.
Chris Bosworth is back.
Yeah.
He has not missed a kick this year.
Nothing. He's missed nothing.
Yeah. And, you know, the difference between 13-3 2 years ago and 9-6-1 last year was the games that Chris Bosworth missed kicks in that we lost.
Right.
You know, and
just like the year before.
The year before,
he hit
we
him.
won 4 games at least off of his toe.
Exactly.
Which is, you know, that
gets
you
to
down
12
to 9
wins.
wins. Yeah, that gets you down to 9 wins.
Yeah.
So, you know, it looks like Boswell has got his stroke back.
Whatever was in his head.
I don't know necessarily if it was his head. You know, here's the thing about these athletes. They don't want to let down their teammates. At least a decent teammate will do this.
Right.
And they're going to try to play while they're injured. And they're not going to tell anybody that they're injured. And I think that may have been part of what the problem was last year.
Yeah.
And then you've got these other guys that they get a hangnail and I can't play. I have to protect my brand.
Yeah.
You know? So
you got quite the
you know, you play for the love of the game. You know, you play
and
to
you're
win.
making money. You're making millions most
You're
of these
making
guys.
money playing a game.
Yeah.
Yes, it is work, but you know what? Other people have to try to make ends meet with a lot less money. So
No, that's true. Well, I think we covered the Steelers pretty well, except for our prediction. What do you predict?
I predict the Steelers are going to beat the Ravens 17-14.
I predict a close game. I don't know the score because the way these teams can score at times, it could be a 36-32 game because they could blow up and do it. They got the talent, both teams. So.
Well, yeah, it'll be.
But it'll most likely be a low
But
scoring
you know, you
game.
think about the people that will be missing from this game.
Yeah.
You're going to be missing C.J. Mosley. You're going to be missing Terrell Suggs. You're going to be missing Ben Roethlisberger. No Antonio Brown.
Right.
But
no
I still believe the intensity is going to be there.
It will be.
You know, and,
they'll bring out the best in each other.
And just think, we win this week, we could potentially be in first place.
That's with 2 wins.
Yeah, we could be in first place because you know, Cleveland has to go out west and play the San Francisco 49ers.
Could be a tough game.
The teams that travel from east to west and the teams that travel from west to east.
Except for Seattle.
Somehow, you know, the travel does play an effect, and everybody says so.
Yeah.
Whatever Seattle's doing, they should bottle it, patent it.
Because it works.
You know, because it works for them.
Yeah.
They've had a great deal of success. So.
No, it is. It's true. Let's change it up a little bit with some Penguin talk.
Absolutely.
I had heard the other night that Sidney Crosby took a puck to the foot, and he's recovered fully. They said he was practicing today.
And Russ took one to the wrist, and he's going to be on a long-term injury.
That's a rough one
which
there.
generally means to me that's a broken bone.
Yeah.
But that hit him in the wrist. You know, their skates are somewhat, you know, protected. There's supports in there, and it just hit him in the wrong spot. But I heard Sid being interviewed on the way here, and he said he's going to be fine for Thursday's opener against Buffalo. The Penguins were able to sneak one by. You know, what they did to get under the salary cap by a certain time, they had to put Casey DeSmith, who was their number 2 goaltender last year.
Right.
They had to put him on waivers.
Rutherford pulled a heck of a move.
And keep Tristan Jarry. Now, here's what the explanation Mike Rutherford said today, that Jarry and Casey DeSmith played equally as well as one another in the preseason, but Casey DeSmith was getting paid $500,000 more per season, and to get under the cap, they needed to cut that salary. And they were hoping that they could get Casey DeSmith back because Mike Rutherford said that he believes that Casey DeSmith is a number 2 goaltender in the NHL, and that he
no, that's a powerful, encouraging
you know,
thing.
that he's a strong number 2. He said Tristan Jarry, he says he has the talent to become eventually a number 1 goaltender.
Right.
But you know, he was hoping that Casey DeSmith made it through waivers. Good news is he made it through waivers.
Yeah.
The Penguins sent him down to their AHL
Wilkes-Barre.
team. And, you know, they're going to need 3 goaltenders to make it through the year.
Sure, they usually do.
Matt Murray has been known to get injured, and
the most injured goaltender in the league.
And they said they would like to see him play somewhere between 55 and 60 games in a regular season, so that they can get him into the playoffs and get him healthy, because he's already proven that he can carry the team to a cup. So, having 3 quality goaltenders, I think, is going to be a big plus for the Penguins.
Sure.
My questions are going to be, can the Penguins corral Chris Letang and get him to play smart hockey instead of taking as many chances as he
giving
took
the puck
last
away,
year?
yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems the Penguins had last year was they gave away the puck more than any other team, and by doing so, gave away wins.
Right.
Okay.
Because it's hard to come back from that.
It's hard to come back. And Chris Letang, he's got such a desire to win, and he's so extremely talented.
Sure.
But he does have to remember he has to play his position.
Well, he has gotten older, and I don't know if he's lost a step yet, but there could be a little edge that's off of his game.
I don't think there's a defenseman in the league that plays as many minutes as him.
No, he's leading the league all the time.
He's
a beast.
A maniac when he works out. So.
Right. He's in great shape. Look at what he's come back from.
It'll be interesting to see how the top 2 lines play out, because one of the guys that was meshing real well with Evgeny Malkin has been injured.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be ready for the game, but,
And Malkin's going to play better this year. I believe it.
Well,
because he's a competitive guy. He hasn't lost anything.
He hasn't lost anything, but one of his biggest faults last year was Evgeny let other teams get into his head and forced him
become the
to
mad
retaliate.
Russian. Yeah.
And it's so true in the game of hockey is that it's not the guy that that initiates the thing. It's the guy that retaliates that the referee sees. And Evgeny took too many unnecessary penalties.
Well, look, wasn't he like
year.
minus 27?
Yes.
On the plus minus? I mean, that's
and,
terrible.
So the Penguins have all the talent that they need.
They still have that core.
This kid that they picked up, Tav,
I can't even say the name there.
Yes, they picked him up in a trade. He's
supposed to be a good player.
They like this kid a lot, and I think he may end up skating on Sid's line.
Yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see how they play out. Of course, hockey season again. It's like a baseball season. Yeah. It's a marathon.
82 games. So.
Yes, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but the points you get in October are as important as the points you get.
I feel that
April.
way too. Yeah. I don't think there's any ones you can just pass on.
No, and keeping on saying, and this is something that I heard the Steelers keep on saying, is that it's early in the season. It's early in the season. Well, you keep saying it's early in the season, but
it's middle
NFL,
of the season.
It's a quarter of the way through the season already.
Yeah.
So it's not early in the season. No. You're in the heat of it now.
You're heading for the first half.
Yes, you are.
And you got to watch that. And the Steeler coaches, I like Sullivan and stuff, how he operates.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see how the game plays out, because the team that's skating on the ice Thursday night is not going to be the Penguin team that's going to go into the playoffs.
No.
This is the way it is in hockey. Moves are made during the season.
Sure. Some people will be coming back
like
from
I've
injuries.
always said about baseball, 162-game baseball season will expose your flaws.
Yeah.
An 82-game hockey season will expose your flaws, and they're going to find out where they need to strengthen.
Sure. And they got a few players in there that'll mesh with them, so it'll be good. Mm-hmm. We'll have a good time. We're winding down on the show. Thanks to our camera crew here for putting this nice show together. And look at that painting behind us.
Look at that painting behind us. And before we sign off, I want to just wish the best to my dear friend Jim Frazier. I hope you get well soon, my friend. We miss you here. Anything we can do to help you, just reach out. There's people that care about you, my friend.
That is very true. Prayers to Smoking Jim. Hopefully he'll get out of the hospital soon and they'll find out whatever his issue is, why he cannot walk. So he did show me he's in the bed with some plastic things on his leg. A shocking picture, but he did show me that and didn't tell me anything. So please stay Joey strong.